G'day folks, I'm Beanie and you're watching another Beanie Draws video. This is me drawing a Pteranodon or a pterodactyl, whichever one you want to call it. What I'm doing is I'm putting in my basic shapes like always. I'm actually putting a lot of detail into the head already to begin with. What I really should have been doing is laying out my compositional sketch. Well, that's what I'm kind of doing now with the wings. But as you can see with the legs and the arms and the teeth and that, I don't really do much of a structured beginning with this one. I just kind of go straight into it. With the wings, I do a lot of compositional sketching. As you can see there, I didn't like how it was looking. I was using the eraser a few times there because I was trying to do a bit of a three-dimensional folding of the wing, which is kind of difficult, really. There's a lot of foreshortening. You have to make one of the wings look shorter than the other, which can be a little bit of a mind stuff. I don't want to use profanities in this video, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, what I was doing is I moved into my ballpoint pen, tackling the parts that I found quite easy. So doing the mouth and doing the beak, and on the left side anyway, the wings, doing the rendering and that. I'm using a ballpoint pen and using very, very, very fine pressure to start with my rendering and building it up as I go along. So as you can see with the wings, I'm using kind of vertical lines. I'm not using very many horizontal lines. I'm using kind of like a stroking down, not necessarily a parallel kind of texture pattern. I'm using kind of a slightly fanned line pattern to kind of make it look like its wing is stretched out kind of like a bat. There you go. I'm putting some veins in there and putting in the rendering of shadow just underneath the arm. And then I'm tackling the legs, which I actually found to be very strange. The legs of this Pteranodon, some of the strangest reptilian legs I've ever seen. Kind of like a combination of a lizard and a bird, and I guess that's pretty much what a Pteranodon is. So yeah, putting in the extra details, refining the lines of my Pteranodon feet, which are incredibly strange looking. That my arm moving around there is me using my reference images, trying to figure out how to actually draw the feet. Putting in some extra shading in the lower half of the leg to make it look like it's folded back. And this is where I tackle the difficult part, trying to get the wing to look like it's folded over itself, like it's flying. It's trying to make the wings look like they have a down flap. So I'm using a lot of heavy shading and rendering to make it look like it's folded over and it's shrouded in a sort of blanket of shadow, and then leaving the top half a little bit more lighted. Lighted isn't really a correct terminology, but I'm using it anyway. So yeah, I'm getting to the point where I'm just, refining the textures of the skin, trying to get some of those folds and wrinkles, and trying to get a bit of depth and form into my shapes. And I believe now I've actually finished the Pteranodon. This is where I start refining some of the background, trying to make it a little bit more of a illustrative scene. So I'm shoving in some extra pterodactyls, putting in some rendering for the sky. I'm actually using a lot of light mechanical pencil and using very broad finger smudging. Sometimes the best tool to be using is your own hand. Well, obviously, because you're using your hand to draw with, naturally. But sometimes, getting a nice blended area of pencil, the best way to go about that is with just using your fingers and smudging the lead. So what I'm doing is trying to render in a cloud, so it looks like the pack of Pteranodons are flying out there in the wind and the sky. So the Pteranodons in the background, I don't put very much detail. They're more just kind of a representation. So yeah, this video is nearly done, so I hope you liked it. I hope you liked watching me drawing the Pteranodon. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Give it a subscribe, and I'll be doing more dinosaurs and other things. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.